everyone, welcome to our channel. I'm Amber, this is Paul with Living the Do Life, and it is a brand new week. So we are on the way home from the hardware store to pick up some landscape timbers.
We picked up some landscape timber as a border between the pad and the grass. That way it keeps the crushed concrete from falling over on the grass.
We want to get this done for sure before they deliver our carport top, which is still going to be a few weeks, but there's some things that we want to do before they bring that in, and this is one of them, so we're going to get it done. Okay, we're home. It's a little windy, so hopefully you can see this. So I want to tell you what happened this morning that started our day off. So I was in the house getting ready, and Paul was just sitting down, I think, playing on his phone, and we hear one of our grandkids screaming. We have 4 grandkids that live on this property, and they often scream when they're playing. So at first we're like, we just started kind of listening, and then we're like, something doesn't sound right. So Paul came out of the Airstream and saw 2 of our oldest grandsons running down the driveway, and one of them was screaming bloody murder. He came to Paul, and so they went to the end of our driveway to get the trash cans, and a pack of dogs attacked them. My oldest grandson wasn't bit, but the bigger dog got a hold of the second to the oldest grandson by the leg and was shaking him. He had jeans on, thank goodness, but he had him around the knee. And as he was hitting the dog in the head, he let go of his bite and then grabbed him below the knee. Very traumatic and very scary. These dogs belong to a neighbor that doesn't have a fenced yard, and they just roam around. My daughter took this injured son to urgent care. Anyway, so Paul went out. This is about an hour later. Paul walked down the driveway, didn't see the dogs, to get the trash can, and they attacked Paul in our driveway. Paul had the trash cans and was walking back down our driveway, and the dogs attacked Paul. Fortunately, Paul had this big trash can, so he was able to keep that trash can between him and the dogs and kind of swinging the empty trash can at them, and they ended up running off. But you know, Paul recently and is still recovering from COVID double pneumonia. And by the time he got back down the driveway after trying to fight off these dogs, he was very winded. The child that got attacked and bit is extremely traumatized. So is the other one. They're all very upset, obviously. So it was not a great way to start the morning, but I tell you, as big as that dog is and as small as this grandchild is, we are so blessed that he didn't get more injuries to the face or neck, and that it is just the one leg, because I'm pretty sure that dog weighs more than my grandson does. I can't imagine how terrifying that was to be attacked like that, but that was very scary. So the property that we're on right now is temporary for my daughter and son-in-law, and everything that we're doing with our home base here will also be temporary, because they are toward the end of this year buying property, and we will all be going over there. So everything that we're doing with the topper that we're putting over the Airstream to protect the Airstream in weather, that is all stuff that we can take back down, because it's a big expense, and take with us wherever we go. But one thing that my son-in-law plans on doing, especially now, is fencing this property off. This is a couple acres, but the front part where the road is not fenced, and so he's going to start working on that. And I'm just moving on because I get very upset when I think about it. So Paul is in the back of the truck, and he's rearranging the e-bikes and putting them further in the back. We're not taking the e-bikes out because we know that we still have some work to do here, and they're going to be coming to put this carport cover over the Airstream, and we just don't want a lot of stuff in the way. All of the plants, because they're going to be part of a stand that he builds, these buckets can be moved. So I'm using a different format for filming, and I just don't even know where to look. I'm just using my phone, guys. It's just so much easier, and for our lifestyle, it works out so much better. But here's my plants. We kind of moved them around again, and you could see where we're leveling and all of that stuff. So I cannot wait to get the cover over, get some outside patio furniture. We have a lot of kids in our Airstream all the time, and this will just help give us kind of an outside living area that's covered and protected, and we're gonna get a bigger fire pit to put out here, so it'll be really nice. We're working on it a little bit at a time. So here is some of the landscape timbers that we got, and you can see where there's a division where the crushed concrete is and where the dirt is. We'll be planting grass seed out there, but we're gonna put these to line it up because you can see how the rocks are starting to kind of go into the dirt. We definitely don't want that to happen. Taxi, hi. I have to show you guys something that I got for the kids. They haven't seen it yet. We haven't used it yet, but let me show you. I'm so excited about it. Ooh, it's dark in here. Let me turn on the light. Okay, I'm gonna turn you around. They are going to love that. So how many of you had a Nana or Papa, grandparents, that had an ice cream machine where you could crank it? It's so much fun. So I think every Saturday night maybe, or something like that, we'll pick a night where every weekday on that day we're going to let them make some homemade ice cream, at least during the warmer weather, which next week, the whole week, it's going to be in the 70s. We're going to make some homemade ice cream. I've got several recipes we're going to try. I think we'll make a different recipe every time until we just nail the right one, and we'll all know which is the right one. When I find the best recipe for ice cream makers, I'll share it with you. I'll put it on our website, livingthedewlife.com. So cool. I cannot wait to make ice cream with them. Okay, so tomorrow morning is Saturday, and like 3 o'clock in the morning, my daughter and I are going to drive to Oklahoma for her business, stay one night, and then drive back. But those 2 nights that we're going to be gone, it's supposed to get down to below freezing in the low 30s. So I think what I'm going to do, I've been hardening off my plants, and so I haven't planted them yet in their permanent pots, which is good. I'm gonna go ahead and take these plants and put them in my daughter's fish tank that's empty, that she's not using, and then turn on that UV light for them so that they're protected while I'm gone and not out in the freezing weathers. Okay, so I have a cookie sheet full of eggshells that we saved, and I'm gonna go get some more that I made breakfast for the kids this morning with at Chelsea's, and we are going to dry these outside. Hopefully they'll get dry because I have to leave early in the morning, and it's supposed to be really windy tonight. If not, we'll have to keep them in the house for a little bit and let them dry off. But we are going to put these eggshells in the blender so that it's crushed up really fine into like an eggshell powder, because tomato plants need extra calcium. So when I transplant the tomatoes into their permanent pots this next week, we're going to, when we dig the hole to set the tomato plant down in, we're going to put some of this crushed up calcium powder in the bottom of the hole and then put the tomato plant in so that they have that extra calcium, which will prevent them from getting the black rot on the tomatoes. So that's one thing I've learned. I've been doing a lot of research about growing vegetables. So if you guys have any more really good tips and tricks, please let me know. So that's the fish tank. We got to get those plants out of there so we can put my real plants in there tonight. Okay, I got the eggs from her house. It's real breezy, but it's not too windy. I don't think that they'll fly off of the cookie sheet, but I'm going to try to get them dried out before it gets super windy tonight. Okay, there they are. And it is breezy, as you could tell by my hair, but I don't think they're going to fly off. Okay, so when I was watering the plants outside and saw my jalapeno plant, I remembered that I had bought fresh jalapenos to make some more fermented jalapenos. We ran out. This is the jar. Chelsea made nachos last night, so we need some more. They're so good. And fermented vegetables are so good for you. They've got that good bacteria, and any type of fermented vegetable is really good for your gut. So I'm gonna go ahead and ferment some vegetables and get these done before I leave so that they don't go bad sitting in the refrigerator. So in the last video, we showed you making a temporary compost pile. Now we get to our permanent property, we're gonna make a more permanent one in the ground. But for now, we just used a trash can, put holes in the lid and in the bottom, and that's what we're using as our composting pile. So I'm gonna take all of this and go throw it in there. Okay. So we kind of have this ugly composting barrel tucked behind the back of the Airstream because it's not very attractive. But I'm gonna go ahead and take the lid off, toss this in, add a little bit more mulch that the boys collected that I keep in a bucket. So the basic rule of thumb with this type of temporary, and I think when you have a regular one as well, we're new at this part of it, you put composting on the bottom, and then you put food in one layer, then you add a little bit more of that mulch material, and then you just add food and you try to layer it, and you can stir it up as well if you want to. We're not at that point. We have very few things in there.
Did you give me tag?
So the kids were so excited about the composting pile that they threw a bunch of bread in there. I'm really not sure if you're supposed to have bread in there or just natural fruits and vegetables scrap, but it's in there anyway. Okay, so the eggshells have blown over once already, Paul said, so we've got to take these and go ahead and put them in my daughter's house because I don't have any room in the RV. Okay. We're taking the plants in. The temperature has probably dropped 30 degrees. Okay, I got the plants in the fish tank and I got the eggshells on the counter. So I don't have to worry about it while I'm gone. And we're leaving like at 3 o'clock in the morning. So I want to have a little bit of an early night. So the only thing that Paul really got done today because of the whole dog situation and the temperature dropping so much is he got the string ran as a plumb line for these landscape timbers. And so when the weather clears up and it's not so cold, which will be next week, he'll go ahead and do that. So we got these solar lights hung up on little clips and that are in the ground, and what we plan on doing when we get the carport is we're going to go ahead and put permanent lights under the carport to give us that light we need, and we'll pack these back up and take them with us when we travel. Hey guys, so it is 3 days later. I'm back from Oklahoma from the trip that I took with my daughter. We drove down there literally one day, spent the night in a cabin, and then drove back the next day, which was yesterday. So I'm super tired today, but it was so fun. You know, as your kids get older and become adults and are, you know, have a business or a job and are raising a family, it's really hard to get away just mother and daughter. So it was so special to be able to do that. So even though it has nothing to do with Airstreaming or homesteading, I'm gonna leave a few clips of our trip. We had so much fun. Take a look. Oklahoma! We are at North Beach in Eufaula, Oklahoma. We've been calling it Ufala, but somebody corrected us. Ooh, that'd be a good big one for the bottom.
Yikes. Look, he's cute.
Kinda.
He's cute.
That is so cute. He's a sad little snowman, but he's our snowman. Do you wanna build a snowman? So if you guys remember, I had the cookie sheet with the eggs on it. Actually had 2 cookie sheets, and I had them drying outside before I left. Well, they are dry now. I was going to put them in the blender to ground it up into kind of a just finer pieces. There's some powder on the bottom, but really all I need is this. I use this, I forget what it's called, but you use it to tamp down cabbage when you're making sauerkraut. So I just put the eggs in here and then I just crunch it down. Putting them in here, just the blender cup. So you remember the vegetable plants, and we were putting them in buckets, and I told you that Paul was going to build stands. So he's working on the first stand. Let's go see how he's doing. So I had to come in because it is so windy outside, but I wanted to show you that I have some bread rising, and I have my sourdough. I fed it and it's getting nice and fluffy because I'm gonna make up some more dough for tonight to cook tomorrow. But take a look at my rising bread. I will put the bread recipe on my website, but you do have to have the sourdough starter for this recipe, but it's such a good recipe. So another thing that Paul and I are working on is a clothesline. For you young people out there, it's something you put out in the yard. They're usually metal posts cemented in the ground, but there's a lot of different ways you can do it. And you actually hang wet clothes out there to dry. It's amazing. Nobody uses them anymore, or not a lot of people do, but we're going to go ahead and put up a clothesline. When my kids were little, I used to always use clothesline. I used cloth diapers. I would wash them and hang them out on the line, sheets, blankets. I loved it. It's been a long time that we've been in a lifestyle where I could have a clothesline, and so I'm excited to get one, but we couldn't find the heavy-duty metal posts anywhere. And if you do find them, then you have to have a welder, and we got rid of our welder when we sold our house. So Paul, while I was in Oklahoma, contacted my brother, and my brother was able to get them, and he has a welder. So he's welding me some clotheslines, and he's actually coming down here to bring them to us tomorrow. So I'm super excited. Tomorrow, Paul is gonna go visit his mom in the nursing home, and he's gonna stop by Lowe's and get some bags of cement so we can put it in the ground when my brother gets here, and I'm really excited. Okay, so I brought the plants outside from my daughter's house. You know, we had them in a light, under a light in an old fish tank that wasn't being used. The tomato plant, though, is very tall, and the wind is just blowing it over, and I'm afraid that it's going to break the stem. So Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and have to plant these tomatoes so that they have a little bit of support. Okay, back in the house real quick while that bucket is soaking in the water. The bread is ready. It's perfect. It's just a little, it might have even risen a little high. I've melted some butter. I've got the oven preheating to 400. I'm gonna brush some butter on the bread and then put it in the oven for 30 minutes. 400 for 30 minutes. Bread's in the oven. I'm gonna take Paul a drink and see how he's doing on those plant stands. It's looking so good. It'll have a third one. And then actually, I think I might put herbs along the bottom. It's getting exciting. Now, after this is done, we bought some paint and primer with sealant, and we're gonna do that so that it'll stay a little bit more durable over time. So how exciting. Can't wait to get them all in there planted. Good job, babe.
If you like it, I'm good.
It's looking so good. He got the bottom ones on. He's doing a good job.
So what you making?
Bread.
Bread?
Yeah. Good job. Just got to squeeze all the stuff into the meat. You washed your hands. Are your hands cold? That hamburger meat was cold.
How long did you put it in the fridge?
Well, as soon as you take it out of the cow.
A cow?
Good job.
Mommy, I'm a fish.
So do you remember what you're making?
Meatballs.
Sicilian
Yeah, Sicilian.
spaghetti and meatballs.
Yeah.
I haven't even brushed my hair or done my makeup yet, but I'm trying to get dinner in the crock pot because my brother is coming today. So I've got the sauce going. And then I'm teaching Leighton how to cook because he said he wants to be a chef. And I have tomato sauce on my face.
This looks like,
Do you love goldfish?
yeah. Wait, when I was coming.
Okay, so now I'm just gonna let it cook the rest of the day in the crock pot. So that's done. Now I've got to clean up the kitchen and show the kids how to make a loaf of bread. Leighton wants to know how to make bread. Okay, I'm gonna get ready real quick before I do the dishes because my brother's supposed to be here at 1. I haven't vacuumed. I haven't done much except for show the kids how to make meatballs. But I needed to get them in anyway. So, you know, in the last video, I said that you have to find the silver lining when plans change. And being with our grandkids and our kids, being around our kids, is definitely the big silver lining. The other day, we were outside with the kids and Paul was showing them how to do things, and I thought, isn't that a lost art where the older generation is not around as much to show the younger generation how to do things, old school way, right? And with us deciding to try our hand at a little homesteading, this is a perfect opportunity to show our grandkids how to use tools and how to do some things the old-fashioned way. This is definitely something that Paul and I are really enjoying right now. I got a few comments from the last video about how some of you are kind of reevaluating what you're doing right now with full-time RVing and the gas prices. Man, just since the last video, gas prices have gone up a lot higher even. So are any of you slowing down on your traveling right now? This season that we're in, just everything worked out perfectly. I mean, even though we got COVID and we have some longer lasting symptoms, it still worked out perfectly in timing. And that's the way life just seems to go. So Paul, in case you're wondering where Paul is right now, this morning, Paul went to Lowe's. You know, he got the one plant stand done. Well, we still are going to paint it and seal it, but we did not have enough scrap wood. I don't know if I told you, but the whole stand that he did is made out of scrap wood from Chelsea's porch for the railings that she wanted taken down. In case you didn't know that, he did all of that with scrap wood, so it didn't cost anything. But he does need some more screws, and he's going to need some more wood, but not very much, to finish up what he's doing out there for the plants. Anyway, probably not today because my brother's coming. He'll be here shortly, and I haven't done anything to clean this house. It is a hot mess. Real life over in here, so it's okay. I'm not gonna fret about it. My brother will love me anyway, I'm sure. When I said these new videos were gonna be blog style, I meant like we're gonna walk and talk. I hope you don't mind that. My brother does not do anything halfway. So not only did he make me a clothesline, he also welded all the eye hooks on there that Paul was gonna try to figure out. No, you'll have to stay here. Okay, yes, go get your phones and then come back. And then he painted it with outside paint. I mean, he did everything. And they look so good. Paul had ordered the clothesline wire and all of that stuff, and it's perfect timing because it's going to be delivered today. Paul is also from Lowe's getting bags of cement to cement the poles in. But because it rained so much last night, we don't know if the ground is going to be too soft and we might want to wait for another day. I have the best brother in the world. Like, he's wonderful. I just love him so much. He's awesome. Perfect. Couldn't have asked for better. Wouldn't trade him for the world. I'm happy here. And I was so eager to get out and go do that traveling before, you know, we've had some medical setbacks, but nothing that prevents us from enjoying the moment. Let me show you the pile of dishes that I'm about to tackle. Yikes. Let me knock them out real quick.
Well, I think it's too muddy to put them in. So. That right there gets mud.
Yeah.
Takes a couple of days for it to dry.
Yeah. Hi. How y'all doing? You guys outgrown.
We'll put the raw seed. Yeah. Them work, babe?
Yes, they're perfect. Kevin, you did such a good job.
Shoot. Yeah, but the metal's not cheap right now, girl.
I know.
Because
So I'm kind of done. I'm ready to just sit outside and visit. But man, I'm so excited that Kevin's here and that he made those clotheslines for us. I think because it rained so much last night, I think I'm probably not going to transplant these plants today.
barely took
But
yesterday, Paul.
I'm gonna set them back in the
Like Reese,
pots.
Yeah. They asked Ryan if he wanted to take an extra shift, so.
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna leave today?
Yeah, I'm not. She's got the kids, man, and I don't know if he's gonna do a double shift or.
Oh, gotcha. So unfortunately, my brother had to leave, but his son, my nephew, is a firefighter and was pulling another shift. And so Kimberly had to stay home, my sister-in-law, and watch the grandbabies. And so he wanted to get back to help her in case he ends up doing a double shift. So he left already. Paul and Keegan are outside and they're moving the planter that he built yesterday and leveling it further out in the dirt because we got really good news today, and that is that they are going to be delivering our carport cover for the Airstream next Thursday. So we're moving the planter out in the dirt. Also, we're going to spray paint it, get some plants put in there. We have to get everything off of this gravel area. This weekend, we will be moving our Airstream over so that we don't risk anything falling on our Airstream or, you know, hurting our Airstream. We're just going to move it over temporarily until they're done. Very exciting. And then after that, I get to go look for a patio set. So we have grandkids over here a lot. We're doing a lot more. So I've accumulated more on the counters, like canning jars and all kind of stuff. And so I'm doing more baking of bread since there's more people over here to feed, which I love. And so we need more of an outside sitting area while we're here and not traveling, but it'll be nice because when we do travel, we can cover the furniture and just kind of leave the extra stuff we're accumulating for an outside living area. We can just leave it and then just take the Airstream and come back. So super exciting. I'm boiling water to make spaghetti to go with the spaghetti and meatballs that I made earlier. Let's go see what they're doing outside. Ooh, I can smell it. Since it rained so hard last night, he made me a little thing because it's really muddy. He made me a little walkway. Now when we get the cover over, this is not where it's going to go. It's actually going to go up closer, but we don't want to be in the way of their ladders and stuff. So I'm going to have to get Paul some work boots. He doesn't have any anymore because we've been living the luxurious RV life. But now that we're out in mud and dirt, we're going to need some work boots. Y'all, this sauce is so good. It is so good. So you can see I brought my bread dough out here and put it on the table so it could get a lot of sun and rise. We've got the AC on and the Airstream and it wasn't rising quite as fast, so I just brought it out here. It's almost at the top, so I'm just gonna leave it out here for a little bit longer and then brush it with butter and pop it in the oven. So remember, you put this hand here to catch it. Then you squeeze and tip it so that it dumps over. Remember? Because you want it to fall into your hands. Right. Just to make it nice and snug in the dirt, right? Okay. Now put a little bit more dirt in here. Well, what is this? This is a poblano pepper.
What the fuck?
Because otherwise we won't know what it is, right? Okay.
Hi.
Yay, it looks good, babe.
Here lately, we've been working on home base. We're getting ready to get the carport set in, so I gotta re-level the crushed concrete, get it ready, level. We've been working on, she wanted a clothesline. Her brother welded us up clothesline poles. Some good heavy duty ones. It's a little wet right now, so in a couple of days I want to put them in the ground, and been working on some vegetables and stuff for her garden, above garden, and some herbs that she's going to plant. So we're getting all ready, and later we're going to get some grass and get a little fence around our little place, and it's going to look pretty nice. It actually feels kind of good to have a home base right now because of the way gas prices is, and if we're sick, doctor's appointments, we can extend our stay and stuff, so we don't have to worry about it. Okay, everybody, thank you all for watching, and please give it a thumbs up if you would, and hit the subscribe button if you haven't, and join the crew. And like she says, everybody, live simply, dream big, and do life. Thank you all for watching.